We're gonna have it's gonna be kind of an informal the event that you audience, you guys are gonna be engaged with speakers. We have two speakers, and they're gonna give a 15 minutes lecture each. So I would like to invite Dr. Kafatos. You're gonna give a 15 minutes lecture. Again, the subject or the talk today's title is Healing, Science, and the Cell. So let us welcome Professor Kafatos.
Okay, so we like to start with the highest. And the highest is meditation on the self. Meditation on who we really are. And everything from that point on will be a lot more fun. So thank you for the invitation to speak at this wonderful university. And I will say a few things about it. But for now, this is the time for ourselves. I would like to ask you all. So I would like to ask you to sit back on your chair. Have your feet firmly on the ground. And uncross your legs. And just take one deep breath. Let it out slowly. And one more deep breath. Let it out slowly. And I will use the mic to emphasize the breath. And the next breath, you can make a sound. Do that again. We're going to do this for the next 2 hours. One more time. Since you all love it, we're going to do it a couple more times. So we'll talk about the theory just for a couple of seconds, and then we'll practice it. So the theory is that we're all the universal self. What you're experiencing right now is your true being. What you experience right now. So, as I speak, you can focus on your breath. And I would like to ask you now to close your eyes, please. Close your eyes. This is a time for you and your own self. As the breath comes in, which you already enjoyed it, notice that there's a space between the two breaths. The breath comes in. Momentarily, there's a moment between the two breaths, between the in-breath and the out-breath. Focus on that point. And then, when the breath comes out, before it starts coming in, there's another point just outside of your body, or at least it seems to be outside of your body. It really is all inside, but you're focusing for momentarily outside. So there are two spaces in between the in-breath and the out-breath, and between the out-breath and the in-breath. This space between the breaths is our true self. This is it. The space between the two breaths is who we are. And meditation is nothing than focusing on a particular area, which is your favorite area. My favorite area is between the breaths. That slows the mind and slows the breath. So we're just going to stay like this. I'm going to close my eyes myself because I want to enjoy it like the rest of you. And we're going to stay there for just a few minutes, not more than 2 minutes. Everything will be fine when you open your eyes. The world continue moving the way it is. So now it is really your time to stay focused on yourself. Close your eyes. Slowly take 10 seconds to open your eyes. Come back to the room. Now, I notice that many of you have your eyes closed. It's fine. You can continue having your eyes closed. You don't need to listen to me. You can continue meditating on the self. So, it almost feels like we just stay like this. Forget about the lecture. But I know you came here and you spent a lot of energy to come here, so we'll do the lecture and the debates. Again, it's your freedom. You can continue meditating, and that will be totally fine with me. You're not going to insult me. I know Koreans are very socially minded. Don't want to insult your guests. You have my permission to keep your eyes closed and continue meditating. That'll be totally fine. So today I would like to share with you a couple of things from modern quantum theory. We're going to go right into it. From the self, the experience of the self, to quantum theory says. And from what I have seen already, talking to Vice President and the President, who's wonderful human beings, I could feel your energy. It seems that your university is on the path of bringing together these two sides, the East and the West. So I would like to invite you to use this holistic principle, which you already have outlined them. You already told us. I would like to invite you to explore more these principles and how, for example, quantum theory, which is based on certain principles, could be applied in the medical profession. The results will be amazing. You already know that, because you're already combining the East and the West. You're already combining the yin and the yang. We call that, in quantum theory, complementarity. And, okay, the term may be difficult to understand, but think of it as the two opposites, what appear to be opposites, such as the yin and the yang, such as the male and the female, that are contradictory when you take them separately. So medicine, if it avoids that contradiction, it will not lead to healing. Hear what I'm saying? If you try to be in one mode, viewing a disease, quote-unquote disease, as one thing, and I think Deepak will tell us some wonderful data from the medical. I'm giving you more of the theory from quantum point of view. If you just focus on one, you're going to miss the other. The two cannot be applied at the same time. So when you do chi therapy or any form of Eastern medicine, just do that. But understand there's a complementary aspect, the Western medicine. And there's a contradiction in those opposites. Complementarity has contradictions. In fact, out of complementarity comes what appears to be indeterminate. I don't know. I was watching the dance, right? And when I was watching it, I didn't know what the next move was going to be. From my point of view, it was unknown. But from the point of view of the dancers, the entire dance was already laid out. They knew the next step. So what appears to be randomness in the physical universe is just a perception that focuses on the inanimate. In fact, I took with my iPhone, it's not BlackBerry anymore, it's an iPhone, I took pictures of the dancers. What we call in quantum theory, collapse the wave function of the dance into one picture. But the actual dance was the wave, the way they were moving. Wave. They were dancing. So the wave is the unmanifest reality, which in this case is the dance. That's why the dance is so important in many cultures. Every culture has a dance. It's the wave. It's the unmanifest. And then I take the picture, and I got a picture of a dancer, or two dancers, or five dancers. And you know that your picture of the dancer is not the real thing. So why do we take pictures? Beats me. There are a lot of pictures here. That's why I asked you to turn them off. We take pictures because we would like to capture that moment of the wave. But once you take the picture, the wave is gone. The wave function has collapsed. So the first principle that perhaps can be applied in medicine, in this holistic medicine, is the opposites and the contradiction, the wave, the dance, that now focuses, once you do a treatment, into a particular modality. The second principle is the repetition of patterns. Patterns keep repeating in the universe. You saw the patterns in the dance again. They were repeating. And then once you get into the pattern, right, then it all begins to make sense. It's a pattern. So in your modalities, as you explore the new medical science that you're building together with the two aspects, perhaps explore how information, how patterns keep repeating through the body, the mind. And we tend to focus on one of them. I think Deepak is going to tell us something about genes. We tend to focus on one of them and say, okay, we got it. We got the gene right here. It's just one of the patterns. Remember, it is a wave. So the second principle is repetition of the patterns at every level. The third one is intentionality. And this is a quantum theory called the measurement problem. If there are any quantum physicists in the audience, you know that's the biggest problem in quantum theory. Once you measure something and once you capture it, it's not the same thing anymore. Complementarity has collapsed it through the act of observation, through your willing intention into one particular modality. So there's intention in the universe. The universe is conscious. And therefore, consciousness, universal consciousness, acts through complementarity, repetition of patterns, and intentionality. So in your medicine, please take into account the intention of the person who is being, quote unquote, treated. When we approach a disease, quote unquote, we're focusing on the disease, we're not focusing on the patient, right? Sometimes the patient, it's hard to say that in a hospital environment, but sometimes the patient wants to die. And we should really honor that. We all have such examples. And I know some of you may become emotional about it. We need to take into account the intentionality of the participant. So this is the quantum universe. This is what quantum theory is telling us today. It's not particles. It's quanta, and from quanta, we have subjective experience that we call qualia. One kind of qualia, which means qualia, from Latin it means subjective quality that you observe in a qualitative way, okay? Qualitative way, not quantitative. Qualitative way. And qualitative way is very much part of our art. It's full of qualitative modalities, right? It's not quantitative, but there is quantitative, right? When they play the music, they have follow notes. You can assign numbers to the notes, et cetera, et cetera. You can put it in a computer, et cetera, et cetera. But there's the qualitative aspect, which is the indeterminate part, which is the wave aspect. 4 kinds of qualia. One is feelings. You feel something. Second is you see something, imagery. Third is how it connects with your own body. Senses, sensation. It's hot, it's cold, this and that. So there are sensations, images, the feelings, and last but not least, because we're a university environment, what's the 4th one? Thought. Thought, we think. In academia, we love thoughts. We love theories. We love the T word, theory, thought, etc., etc. But theory, you know what theory means? It comes from the Greek. You know what theory means in Greek? Theorin. Theorin. To view God. Theos is God. Orin is to view. So theory says to view God. That's not the way we practice in most universities theories today. So these are the 4 qualia. And that's all there is. Deepak and I have written, and a couple of other people have written an article. We call it From Quanta to Qualia, and it is an ongoing work. And actually there's several of these articles in the San Francisco Chronicle. We can send you the information. And there we show that indeed the quantitative part that we study in physics and in medicine, in all the fields of science today, it really is nothing more than the subjective experience which comes from the self. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kafatos. Now.